Hey Cal fans, and welcome to this week's breakdown of the Cal defense against the Weber State offense. If we want to understand Weber State's offensive game plan for their game against the Bears, one of the plays that we have to look at is the quarterback power read. And to understand how that works, we first should look at two-back power, or a standard power play without the quarterback involved. Two-back power is going to be characterized by a couple of features, and the first feature is the play side down block. Okay, so I've drawn this up, set up to go to the left. If this play is going to the left, then our play side down blocks are going to go to the right side of the formation. So all of my linemen to the play side are going to block back to the right side of the formation. These are our down blocks, okay? So feature one of two-back power, play side down blocks. Our second feature of two-back power is going to be a kick out from one of these running backs. So here we're going to use our fullback to kick out that nickel back and get rid of that defender on the edge. Okay, so we got our play side down blocks, we've got our fullback kick out. The last feature of two-back power is going to be a pulling guard coming from the backside. That's going to be this right guard. He is going to step out and pull and lead up into the hole, and the running back's going to follow him through that hole. That's the standard look for two-back power. Play side down blocks, running back kick out, guard pulling, and leading through the hole. Okay, now if we look at how this is drawn up against this defense, this play is going to run into trouble. This is a defense a lot like what the Bears like to play. The numbers are going to be really similar to what we do. And if you try to run two-back power against this look, you're not going to have numbers to do it. So if we look here, our play side down blocks are taking care of all of these defenders, but they're not taking care of both the safety and the inside linebacker. This safety is going to be able to fit outside of the pulling guard, and the inside linebacker can fit inside of the pulling guard, and the running back won't have anywhere to go. Okay, so if you're an underdog, if you don't think that you can just blow the defense off the ball, then you're going to need to find some way to get an advantage because you don't have a numbers advantage. Okay, so how can you get a numbers advantage? You can go from two-back power to running quarterback power, okay? Now let's remember that in two-back power, we needed two running backs in the backfield. We needed one running back to be our kick-out player, and we needed the second running back to be the ball carrier. In quarterback power, we're going to turn our quarterback into the ball carrier. He's going to be the ball carrier, and that means that we actually only need one running back in the backfield. We need one running back to be our kick-out defender, okay? So if we only need one running back, then what can we do with that information? If we only need one of them, then we can remove one of them from the box. So we'll put our H out here. He's going to take a defender with him. He's going to take that strong safety with him. So now, all of a sudden, the defense has one less defender in the box, okay? Now, I'm going to move this running back over here to be my kick-out defender. I'm going to keep the exact same blocking scheme. I've got my play side down blocks, play side down blocks. I've got my pulling guard, okay? And now my quarterback is going to be my ball carrier. When I run quarterback power, now that I've gotten this safety out of the play, when my guard pulls and leads through the hole, okay, he's going to block that inside linebacker, and there's not going to be anyone in position to fill this outside lane right here. Okay, so that's going to be a nice outside lane that my quarterback can go through. That's a lane that I didn't have in two-back power against this defensive look. It's a lane that I now do have because I've run quarterback power. Now that we know how quarterback power is designed to work, let's look at an example on Weber State's first touchdown of the game. First, let's look at how this running back kicks out the end man on the line of scrimmage. And next, we're looking at this pulling guard, which is so characteristic of the power play. Okay, so if I'm Weber State, I'm doing a good job. I'm running my quarterback power. I'm getting myself a numerical advantage by turning my quarterback into a ball carrier. I got a touchdown. Things are looking good. Now, here's the problem. If I keep running quarterback power out of this same formation in this same way, then DeRuyter's going to cause problems for me. He's going to move his line around, he's going to blitz guys, he's going to do things to disrupt this blocking scheme if he thinks he knows what's coming. So if I'm Weber State, what I really need to do, what I really want to do, is I want to find some way to run quarterback power to the right side of the formation out of this exact same look so that I can keep the defense guessing. And this is where quarterback power read comes into play. Okay, this is going to be a quarterback power play going to the right side of the formation. It's still going to be a power play. I'm still going to have my play side down blocks. I'm still going to pull this guard around and lead him up to this inside linebacker. So far so good. Everything is the same as what we saw over here. But the problem is going to come from how I'm going to kick out this outside linebacker. When my running back was on the same side as his kick out, that was an easy path for him to take. He had a good angle to get to this kick out block on this nickel back out here. When he has to come all the way across the formation, that's a much tougher angle. There's going to be a lot more this outside linebacker can do to disrupt the play before this running back can get over there. So I'm not going to be able to have my running back do a normal kick out. I'm going to need to account for him in some other way. And so what I'm going to do is run, instead of quarterback power, I'm going to run a quarterback power read. And what this means is that my running back is going to take an outside path, okay? He'd probably go in front of the quarterback to get the ball, but he's going to take an outside path, and the quarterback is going to read this outside linebacker. The quarterback is going to read this outside linebacker. If that outside linebacker widens to cover the running back, then the quarterback's going to keep the ball. The outside linebacker's effectively kicked himself out of the play. If that outside linebacker widens with the running back, then the quarterback is going to take the ball and cut it up inside behind his pulling right guard. Okay? If that outside linebacker does not widen, if he sits inside to take away the quarterback, then the quarterback's going to hand it off to the running back, and we're going to get big yards around the edge. So by adding in this quarterback power read, Weber was able to balance out their playing quarterback power play and to run the same basic blocking scheme to different sides of the formation out of the same look and to keep our defense off balance. And to illustrate all this, here's an example of a quarterback power read. And we're going to watch this end man on the line of scrimmage. We're going to watch how he sits and widens for the running back and how that opens up a lane for the quarterback to cut the ball up inside. Here's a slightly different version to show how Weber State did a good job of mixing things up. On this play, they're actually handing the ball off to this receiver coming in motion, but this is still a quarterback power read, and we need to watch how this linebacker is going to get sucked down inside so that he can get outflanked when the quarterback hands the ball off. Okay, so Weber using the quarterback power and the quarterback power read, that was an interesting feature of their run game. They got a touchdown off of it, but ultimately that wasn't the thing that made the game close. Sometimes we blitzed into those runs and got stops. Sometimes we just out-executed them. And yeah, sometimes they got us for a few yards. But that wasn't the thing that caused problems for us. What really caused problems for us was the passing game, and specifically the way that Weber State was able to attack the safeties, particularly down the seams of our defense. This is a problem that first showed up in the Weber State game, but it's one that's going to haunt us, especially in the Colorado game, the UCLA game. So this is a major weakness that we have, and it's something that Weber State was the first team to expose. Okay, so first let's look at a play where the guy who catches a long pass is going to be this H receiver right here. He's going to catch a 51-yarder. So how are we trying to defend him? We're playing a single high coverage with a safety in the middle of the field. I mentioned why we like to do that in the North Carolina breakdown 2 weeks ago, so you might go back and check that out if you want to read up on why we're in this look. So we're going to play a single high look with a free safety in the middle of the field. And the way that we're covering H is with kind of an outside-inside bracket on him. Okay, so when we go to the tape, you're going to see that this safety is lined up with outside leverage on this receiver. He's playing outside of him. And he's doing that so that if this guy runs, a deep out or a corner or something like that, he's outside of him and he's in position to take that route away. Okay, so this guy is playing outside of H, and the free safety is playing inside and over the top. And so we ought to have a bracket on this receiver when he runs deep down the seam. We ought to have a nice inside-outside bracket. The quarterback should be throwing into double coverage if he's going to take this route. So what happens instead? When we go to the tape, what we're going to see is that initially this free safety drifts over to the left side of the formation. I don't know if he's coached that way or if his eyes were bad or his read was bad or what exactly was going on, but the problem is that he starts to drift over to the left side of the formation and away from this seam route. And so by the time he recovers and works back to this receiver, it's too late and the receiver beats both of these guys over the top, and Weber State gets a nice 51-yard gain out of the equation. Here we see the look immediately after the snap, and we see that the safety who's rolled down has outside leverage, and we see that our free safety is on the hash. And as we roll the play forward a little bit, we're going to see that the rolled down safety doesn't really get any kind of contact on this receiver. He gets beat pretty badly and doesn't really slow him up at all. And we see that the free safety drifts off of the hash a little bit before he turns and runs and ends up being late to this ball down the seam. Okay, so that was one way that Weber State was able to attack the seams for big yards. This second play that we're going to look at is a 55-yard touchdown, one where every Cal fan in Memorial Stadium probably went, oh my God, not again. But this one worked out a little bit differently from a scheme standpoint, but it's a similar kind of issue. This is more of a play calling issue than it is an execution issue, although execution definitely factors into the play. We'll see that there are components of both in what went wrong on this play. Okay, so here's the look. Weber's got 2 tight ends and 2 running backs. There's a little bit of play action here, but that doesn't end up being the big problem. Okay, the second thing to know about this play is that we are blitzing both that safety and this outside linebacker off the edge. Okay, we're blitzing both of those guys off the edge. And once we see that this is happening, once we see that both of these guys are blitzing and not covering this tight end, then the question we have to ask ourselves is, how are we supposed to be covering this tight end and Z receiver when both of the guys lined up over the tight end are blitzing? And we have a plan for that. We have something in store. This wasn't a bust by any means. So what we're doing is we are bringing this free safety over, and we're playing 1, 2, 3 defenders over 1, 2 receivers. We're kind of playing a little triangle. And the way that this is going to work is the cornerback is going to be the outside defender. Anything that breaks outside will become his man and his responsibility. The inside linebacker is our wall player. He's going to sit inside of these 2 receivers, and he's going to cut anything that comes inside. He's also, critically, if this tight end were to run down the field, then he would be responsible for walling that tight end off and keeping him from getting to the middle of the field. So this inside linebacker would need to deny this tight end the middle of the field. Okay, so we've got our outside defender, we've got our inside defender, and then we've got our free safety coming over the top to be the point man in the triangle, and he is going to be responsible for anyone that goes deep. Okay, so we've got outside, inside, deep man, 3 over 2 receivers, okay? With our inside linebacker denying the middle of the field and protecting this free safety who's working to the outside. So that's how it should work. Now Weber State gets us here. They've got a good play call in place, and it's going to turn into a touchdown with a little bit of help from an execution mistake. Okay, so what Weber is doing is running a little switch with the tight end and the receiver. Okay, they're running a little switch with the tight end and the receiver. When the tight end works outside, he becomes the cornerback's man, and we get that covered up just fine. Okay, cornerback sitting outside, he takes the tight end. Now remember that it was the inside linebacker's job. If this tight end would have run, a post or down the seam, it would have been this guy's job to wall him off and deny him the middle of the field. The problem is that the inside route isn't coming from this tight end. The inside route is coming from the Z receiver, and this guy's just not in any position to wall off this post route working to the inside. So we're going to lose our wall player because this post is coming from a guy who's lined up so far outside. This wall player is going to be ineffective. Okay? So when the cornerback takes the tight end, it's going to be up to this free safety to pick up this Z receiver running the post. He's lined up inside of him. It's going to be up to him to see that this switch is happening and to carry him in the middle of the field. Okay? Now, when the free safety, he's reading Y, he's reading this tight end. When he sees him start to work outside, he's going to continue to work outside and over the top with him. He's not going to see Z on this post until it's too late. And at that point, we have the middle of the field completely vacated. This is an easy throw for the quarterback to make before the blitz can get home, and Weber State turns this into a 55-yard touchdown. Alright, here's the live footage, and what we're watching for here is how when the tight end cuts outside, the cornerback stays outside and picks him up. And here's the end zone footage where we can really see what happened on this play. As we run the tape forward, we can see how the safety's working to the left of the screen to get over the top of these two receivers, and how the inside linebacker is dropping inside of the tight end to wall him off and deny him the middle of the field. In this shot, we can see how the safeties continued to widen as he kept his eyes on the tight end, and how this caused him to overrun the post working from the outside in. Alright everybody, that's all I've got for you this week. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check back in 2 more weeks when I look at our defense against Ole Miss.